I mean, politics is for everybody of us. It is to bring in order in ourselves, in our families, in our businesses, in Wawam, and also nations. Also, I mean, politics is not just they do something there, so it's the question about how can I build the kingdom of God? How can I bring His order in my sphere of society? Of course, what we are doing is here now looking to politics in a nation, address that, but I think the principles are the same on every level. To really take care, bring order, and bring justice, a working relationship, and so on and so on. So I just want to go to a summary of yesterday or on Monday, and probably you can shortly turn to your neighbor and tell me something about Monday. What did you hear? What did you pick up? Let's just quickly talk to your neighbor. Quickly ask. Somebody can go to Ruth. Do you want to join?
Yes.
Something that you remember from Monday.
We talked about flexibility, democracy. We learned about Switzerland policy.
Switzerland.
Democracy. To speak something importation.
It's okay if you take it in your notes. It's okay to say it from the.
We can try to.
Okay.
In the system of the government, no one person but 7 people, and to realize people decision, and everyone in canton people number of 50,000 can enact a votation. So canton to
Okay, let's come together. This was a bit a wake up, like exercise for your brain. In the beginning, think about yesterday. As we do it over Zoom, it's always a bit hard to have all the voices, and so I think it's better when we do it then bilateral in our group. In the end, we can then raise the question, ask the question, and do that. So I want to give from my side a short summary of yesterday. So I tell you now what I wanted to tell you. Okay, so I gave these new 9 advices. Probably you have not everything picked up because I not structured it so nicely. I didn't came to the end, but so we are all humans. It's the first thing that I put. So that we have to understand we are all sinners. We all need forgiveness. We are not better than one another. And I think that's exactly the problem in the Ukraine war in the moment, and also in the Israel war. I mean, the problem is that one side thinks we are better than the other. And I'm getting sometimes so tired about the European view on the Ukraine, or we just say Putin is bad, and we want to kill him, we want to stop him. But what is it about sitting with him together and negotiate is the only solution to have weapons? And I think the first who has no sin, the one who has no sin should be the first to throw stone. So in this sense, but I think this is absolutely a foundation for every group in WOW, everywhere in the family, that we see us as an equal, in the sense we are all made by God, we are all sinners, we all need forgiveness. So, and this makes us unite us. And so that Jesus Christ, the Bible, brought us this unity, or Jesus hanging on the cross for all of us. And I believe that this was the main message from Jesus, next to the salvation and all, but or let's say not the main, but probably the first to understand that we are all unique. We are all belong to Him. We are all His children. And so the Western civilization is built on that, on this negotiating, on listening to one another, on being or building up this win-win, and not look just for myself and to know I'm not better than the others. I think this is the foundation for in every sphere to find the solution and bring order. So the second one was then the law have to be over the people, and we saw that the Bible brought the idea of having a constitution that stayed over the people, that's not from the people, but it stayed over the people. And we found out and it didn't work as long as the Bible get not translated in the common language and people could understand it. So just have a law over us, and we do not know, we do not can read the law, so it makes no sense. So through the Reformation, where the Bible get translated, the Word of God came to the people, people understood, and with this, there was an absolute law that everybody has to hold on. And so the Christians could stood up with the Bible in the hand and say it's wrong because it's written in the Bible. So we saw that also in our Reformation tour, and we heard that all the way. But I think that's a foundation, and therefore a nation needs a constitution to give these absolute principles where we stand on. Good. And the third one is nations need a common law. We need. Good morning, Sebastian. Good morning. Please take a seat. Yeah. A third, we need a common. I didn't want to write law here. I want to write goal. Sorry, it should be a common goal. So we need some kind of nationality that we say we have a purpose. Everybody wants to have the same. And so it was again, and this is the spiritual dimension, or is the supernatural dimension, or the, let's say, this one that we are born for something higher than just ourselves. And this brings us together, this unite us together. And it was Christianity who brought that. It's about the kingdom of God. It's about Him. It's not about you. And we are all part of it. So we need this common goal, not law. Sorry, I read it wrong. Now, power needs to be separated. One thing that we learned, when power is and you have too much power, because we are sinners, you misuse the power. And therefore, it's absolutely necessary. And we have today this separation, like judicative, judiciary, and executive and legislative. We will see that in this afternoon in our outing, but it's absolutely necessary. So the fifth one, decisions have to make by where the people have the responsibility or do the work. And we have to. This is this federalistic idea of the government. That we have in Switzerland, we have the community, then we have the cantons, and we have the nation. So when, as much as you can regulate on the deepest level, and where you have the responsibility is good, and when you not can regulate it, like this was the advice to Moses, then bring it to the next level. But make sure that you not have top down, that you have an up from the bottom. Wow. So we see that in a lot of governments today, or in a lot of structure, but this came out of a biblical Christian worldview. So the fixed one, people have to feel to be part of the nation, or in a business, so people have to be junior partners, they have to be owner of the business and not just employees. Because when you have employees and they don't feel I'm part of the business, they just do their business when they get money, but as soon they have to do something extra, they will not do it. So when you not have ownership of your employees, then it will not work for long term. And this is the same in a government. And what Switzerland has, I think, unique in the whole world is that we have these popular initiatives and this referendum, right for referendum, and we vote 4 times a year. And we are integrated in the whole system. We have all the knowledge, so we are part of it. So, and in our community, we have these assemblies where we can raise the hand. But this is become probably it's good or not, but it's really important that the people are in with us, that not somebody is doing something and has no idea, or is the others cannot react. And I think Switzerland has a really good thing. I would not say that this is the best solution. It has also negative effects. Because in every decision that the government is doing, people can stand up, and then it took a long time. And when this common goal that we want to build the kingdom of God, and want to do the best, and everybody is just looking for himself, and this communist goal is gone, and everybody's looking for himself, then direct democracy is also a real problem, because they block one another constantly. And this is what the Chinese see there. And then the seventh, it required transparency and responsibility. I think that in Africa we see you have a democratic system, separation of power and all of that, but in the end everybody's doing what he wants. So it needs to have a good court system. And here in Switzerland, I think it's working very well, and it's clear that it has to be transparent and so, and we talked about that. So the 8th one is not one get all. It's a very important thing. We have this with our 7 people, we have 7 who rule in the top, and not one get all, like in America, one get all, and then after Biden, Trump is coming in, he changed everything again and go in other direction, and the others have to be in the opposition. So I think we have to separate the power and have to involve them. I talked about that. So and the last, and I think this is the foundation. We need a system, but of course we need deserving leadership. And this is attitude, and this is also coming out of the Bible. So I would say that everything is coming out of the Bible. I didn't go so deeply in everything, but today we will talk a bit more about how does it came from the Bible. But I think as well, this serving leadership, that's the attitude that we to be ready to serve, or is something when you not can think win-win, or you will not be ready to serve. When you always have to look for myself, and you are in danger, or say, probably it's not enough for me. And you always have this identity problem. What others think about me? I want to have the position. I want to be good. I mean, identity is something that enable you to become a servant. When you really understood, no, I don't need this position here. I don't need to win. I don't need to be the best. I'm good. I have my identity in God and not in the things around me. Help you, make you to a servant, so you can serve people. You can help others to get a position, and so on and so on. So I think this serving leadership, in our SBCW, we not do a leadership course, but you can later do that. We also offer that. But leadership is one of the most important things that I think that really enable us to work together. So I think that we as Christians have to understand one thing, that we are not only responsible for serving leadership or morality, we are also responsible to build up a system. So the 8 other points I gave you, to build up a system that would be just and that would help that the cross is implemented in a nation. So that, let's say, corruption is almost not possible. If you want to be corrupt in Switzerland, you have to be very smart. That is an implementation of the cross. an implementation, give a system. And I think that we as Christians often forget that. We talk about this morality, and when we are honest, when you are in a corrupt situation, then the danger is really high that you also become corrupt. So our responsibility is to build the kingdom of God, to build structure, to build order, that this order hinder evil the most. And so I think, I hope this can encourage you to think a bit more in this direction. So just what in the beginning of the school, we said something about that. But what is now the problem in the world? This idea of democratization is gone. And we have to understand that at least since 2020, we have to understand it, that it's coming down. You see now here the brown line. Is it brown for you? Or what color? Or brown, yellow? Not the highest line, or this is the Democrats. You see this was the line where nations who were totalitarian became democracies, and now they go back. Do you see this? They go back and really strongly go back. And so you see now this blue line, and this also you see where this going up, where they going back to a totalitarian system. And you see also the last line, this authoritarian system who never become a democracy, they are also going up. So we have to understand, we as Christians brought the system, this is called liberal democracy or a liberal society or whatever you want to say. We built it up. It came from the Bible. But we have to understand that this is now in a downhill. And just to stand there and shout human rights, human rights, human rights, people will not listen anymore, because behind our idea of human rights stands just, I want to have rights for everything. And this is not working anymore. There is no more higher goal over us. And so the problem behind this, I say, is we're losing God, and we're losing the Bible, and we're losing this over us, this perspective, and what we end is just myself and egoism. Yes.
So would you say this liberalization, all that thing, is coming from the direct democracy? No. It's coming from the Bible. And direct democracy is just, out of the Switzerland, it's just application of that, of these liberal ideas over how can you bring freedom and order in the nation. But I don't say that direct democracy is the only solution. So, but I would say it's a good solution. It's a good idea, but it will not work anymore because we are losing this overall. Yeah, I mean, like
that's the problem.
Liberalization now is out of control.
Yeah, it's out of control. You are right. That's out of control, and another thing is, I show you that again. I mean, this is the putschs or the cup in from 2020. So there was 9 times in the Sahara of Africa. 9 times was putsch, and when you look, where do you have the statistic? I don't have, but we see that the putschs, they came down until 2020. It was less and less and less and less and less. Since 2020, is again arising. So the Africans, there's this dear brother from Africa, they don't believe us anymore. And they want to go back. And they look to China, Russia, and a lot of Russian troops helping Africa. You know, Burkina Faso, you kicked out the French, and now take the Wagner from. Yeah, is it right?
No, there is no.
Wagner,
there are no Wagner troops.
But there are Wagner troops now in Africa.
It's the Wagner groups that is
No.
But I think they are in Burkina Faso.
No, in Mali sometimes, but they are trying to ask them to go back. There are some Russian military for training our military, but no Wagner group.
No, but I think we as Christians have to understand. So this system is no more working. Something is really, really wrong. And we cannot go just say, hey, human rights, human rights, human rights. We have to understand what is the real problem. And the real problem is losing Christianity, losing the Bible, and losing the fear of God. And this is the problem, that this system is not working anymore. So, I mean, the Chinese looking to us, say, this stupid guy in the West, so everybody stand up and will do whatever he wants to do. This will not work in China. They want to marry, homosexual want to marry, they want to be a girl and a wife, and the state supporting it to change the gender, and so on. I mean, what kind of laws that we do just to protect the minority is extremely, or everybody wants to have his right, but we end in a chaos. And the Arab nation, I say that, I know that I say that in the first week, but I say it again. So the Arab nations look to us and say, okay, you want to tell me something about human rights, but look, you cannot sustain your family is breaking apart, you have no children, there is no sustainability. But you want to tell me about human rights or about rights for women. Hey, look to you. Is your society really better? You die now. You kill yourself. Come on. In the end, we are just, this liberation brought us to egoism, or everybody is looking for himself. We all want to have rights, and the finance industry, or they took all away the borders, and they play a casino game in the world and play with money and get very rich, but most of the people, they are still in a bad condition. But actually, and I know that as a politician, or we debate every time and they say, no, we cannot, let's say smoking, or no, we cannot forbid advertising for smoking because there is an industry behind it, and in the industry many people are working, and so we will destroy our industry. But let's look how destructive smoking is. I can give you all the dates. I worked many years. I worked in youth ministry, and this was my ministry. We fight against that. But in the biggest cost in our health insurance are the smokers. 20 people die every day. It's huge. Why do we not forbid that? Just because business? Is this the only reason? And because of that, it's so hard to make something in Switzerland, because everybody stand up or bring a change in our insurance, or health insurance. The doctor want to have right, the insurance company stand up, want to have right, the drugs company want to have right, and of course the individual, everybody wants to have right and see it this way. And so a reform is really hard to do. Everybody's just looking for it. Is right. And China seeing that. And Africa, I think you slowly understand that and say, we don't want to have this homosexual marriage. We don't believe in this gender, that you can change your gender. How stupid you are. And we still think we are the best. And I think that's a huge problem. So, and also Moscow, I heard an interview from a journalist who was in Moscow 2 weeks ago, and he said, okay, in Moscow, the streets are clean. You don't see drugs addicts hanging around and all these things. I mean, and you can walk in the night. There is no danger. But look to New York, look to London, look to Paris, look to this liberation brought us in a situation, or it's overwhelming. There are these drugs companies, or all the drugs, then we want to say, we can handle it anymore. Also, okay, we liberate it, then you can have the dark drugs, you can have this. So we do all of that, and probably you know that. But here in Switzerland, we when you are a bit interested in politics, you know that always is the debate. Probably today, I don't know what is the debate, but then I will look then I will let you know. But we talk about things like this, liberalization. You can have free drugs, you can have free alcohol, you can have smoking, you can do, okay, it destroy you, we have a chaos, but he say, this journalist say, oh, go to Singapore or go to other nation. It's really different. You will see a clean nation. People will not put the trash away, put it on the street like you have in many cities in the West. So what is better? Are we really better?
The guys in Abuja have a question, I think.
Yeah, please.
Okay, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity to say something. I actually have, will I say, a different opinion about the leadership in Africa, especially like the countries where they had coup and there was change of government by the military and all that. I understand that it's not the best system of governance, but there are reasons why these things are going on. Like, for instance, here in Nigeria, people are clamoring for the army to take over power. And there are reasons, there are a lot of things going on. And I think that some of these reasons are because a lot of people in Africa feel that the Western nations are the problem of Africa. And the reason being that, like what we have seen from our history before the slave trade, Africa has been doing very well when it comes to trading in the Sahara region, part of the African nations, especially here in Nigeria. Then before Lord Lugard came to do the amalgamation of Nigeria and all that. And then we have a nation called Nigeria. Nigeria was doing well. And I think it is a system that was in place set by the colonial masters that left us where we are today. But before the coming of these people, I understand that Africa didn't really have issues, though we have like ethnical problems that we were solving at that time and so on. But I feel I don't want to just agree that the reason for coup and all that is because people are trying to use power to disconnect from the Western world. Like, for instance, what happened in Niger, what happened in other countries and all that. So I just want to correct a little bit the notion about African, going back to the military power. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's good to have other opinions. I don't want to say that about Africa. So my main point here is we as the West have to understand that the problem is losing of Christianity. That our liberal ideas that we want to bring to the nations will no more work because we do not understand where it's coming from. And this is also in Africa that we are no more able to help. But what you say, I can go with that. It's okay. So I don't know all the histories behind this, and I do not want to blame Africa. I just want to come to the point. Our liberal society, what we believe still here in the West is a good thing, is no more working, and the problem of it is losing Christianity. I hope this is okay, but thank you very much for your opinion.
You're welcome, sir.
Yeah, so what is coming is the BRICS nation. You know this, do you know these BRICS nations? Do you have some clue? Who is it? They are now, like they give another view of liberal societies. They thinking on totalitarian and theocratical systems or up down. So who's for the five? I think. Also India or Moody.
India,
South Africa.
China, Russia.
China, Russia.
And who's in the middle? Oh, Brazil.
Brazil, or these are the 5 countries. And this year there were 6 countries adopted to the BRICS. So it's Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and what is that? Do you know?
UAE.
Yeah, what is it?
United Arab Emirates.
Exactly. Yeah, United Arab Emirates. Yeah. So and we see that 15 more applied for membership of the BRICS, and then how many are there? The rest downstairs. That's the potential candidates that are in negotiation about becoming membership. And so these are just the other way. They are all totalitarian systems we want to build up. They believe in that, and we stand in a trade in the West. I hope we understand this problem. The problem is the losing of Christianity, because we are for Christian roots, and when we lose that, then we probably also lose the system that we built on. But this, you should think about it. So here in this is, they also have biblical Christian values like capitalism, but the only thing that remains by these countries is, then I would say, this capitalism. Like China became a capitalistic also government. It's no more a socialist. They have nothing to do with socialism anymore. Even they call communistic party, but they really embrace capitalism. But the problem is that they also have a big problem because they want to control everything, and mainly through Corona it shows that too much control will not really be good, and they also have a lot of trouble. So I don't say that the others don't have trouble, and I don't say that we are losing, that the West will lose. Both have problems, but what I want to say is just that we are losing our system because we are losing Christianity, and therefore we cannot really teach any more other nations. So probably it will become a second Cold War, let's say, but this time it will be between 2 atheistic nations or 2 non-Christian parts, and the Cold War was clearly from America as a Christian nation, a lot of nations who had Christian influence against an atheistic view of socialism. This will no more be the point. So what will be, I don't know, but think about that. I think that we as Christians have to know that, and say we stand up. We are called to build nations. We are called. It's our mandate to bring healing in the world. And I told you about the UN, about these things. So I mean, this was a mandate to bring freedom in the world. Not everything is perfect. Not everything is good. But I think we should have this vision to bring freedom in the world. And then, therefore, we build up a system who will hold this the best. And I mean, the UN built a system with these 5 members of the Security Councils. The idea was freedom can only happen when all are sitting on a table and discuss. So these 5 members, Russia, China, America, England, and France, sitting on a table and discuss. And there is no, we cannot decide something that one of these 5 will be not agree. I mean, that's what the idea of coming out. Roosevelt, I think it was Roosevelt who really, then Franklin Roosevelt, who construct this construct. I'm not 100% sure, but it came from a Christian initiative of understanding how to bring freedom. And so I say this is the best way. Put them on a table and discuss about it. And it's not perfect, but I think it was a way how to bring freedom. I think at the moment we don't have that. But then you can think about this. So the dream of West, that's a quote from Carlo Manzala. The dream of westernizing the world is over today. So And we talk why they withdraw from Afghanistan, why they didn't have to say something anymore, could help the Afghanistans after 20 years, every year 120 billions, I think they spent for this war. Amazing, and in the end it was a disaster. I say that in the first week, it's because they don't have values anymore. What would they say to the Afghanistans? You have sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I want to be good. I want to have, but then these mostly Muslim influenced people, they have a view of eternity. Even it's a wrong view, and I'm not agree with that. But the purpose of life is not just to have all the good and have busy life, and they look to the West and see all the disaster that the Western created. So how can we go to them and bring the values? We cannot go because we don't have values anymore. So the only thing was weapon and fighting against the Taliban and so on. But now you see the disaster. I think another thing is this one, intervening in Iraq, or Bush was very angry. We now have to kill them, and he claimed that they have these chemical, biological weapons. But it was not true. And so they intervened, they destroyed it, they replaced Saddam Hussein, but now the disaster is big. Because I think they not really have a plan, because we lost this understanding, what I said on Monday, or about how we can build up a system. We just put the system there, but we not change the people, and therefore it didn't work. And so in this system here, without the spirituality behind it, it led to individualism. But I hope you understand that. This is the real problem. And so therefore, what do we want to say? So, and then Vietnam was also a disaster. You know, they withdraw. In the end, they didn't have to tell them something. And just to say they are bad and we kill everybody will not bring a solution. So I put some of the CIA interventions, overthrow of the government. Might say that there are different reports, but it's around 60 to 90 interventions. It's against the international law what the CIA did, and because it's clearly in the international law, also the UN Charter, I'd say that other countries are not allowed to intervene in the things that is in a country. Or so every country is sovereign, and the others have not right. But they did it, and so many times they led to a big disaster. And there are just some of them. As I mean, Iran, or this was clear that they did it because of the oil, of the money, and so on and so on. So you can read that, and you will find out a lot of bad things that they did. And just to claim we are the good one and Putin is the wrong, I don't know, is this the right view? But what the West learned through all this Cold War and time until now is how we can, with weapons, or today with money and manipulation and all what will be involved in overthrow, how we can bring a government down, or how we can defend the enemy. But I think from a Christian perspective, there is another way. Then it's negotiation. It needs to sit together. It's need to listen to others, and not to think that they are the bad one and we are the good one. To believe that we are all sinners and we all need forgiveness. I think this is the foundation. As long as we think they are the bad and we are the good, there will be no freedom. So, the Ukraine we have today, the same, I think here, we think Putin is the evil guy and everything what he says is evil and is lying. But what is the other side? Are they all good? Is Ukraine, and Zelensky was president of the most corrupt country in Europe. And now, did it change just because of the war? I don't know. Ask him. But the thing is, we are all not good. We are not better. Zelensky is not the angel, and Putin, of course, is not, but also the other side is not. And so we have to sit together to find a solution. But I think we lost that, and this is the main problem. So what we are able to do is sending weapons to the Ukraine, or this is the only thing. And then we have all the talks about how evil the others are, or let's see, war in Israel, Palestine. I mean, how can it be that one nation killed? They really turned down another nation, and with support from the West. And I think as long as we think, oh, they are all bad guys and the Israelis are good guys, then as well, the freedom cannot happen. Yeah, coming back to 1944, where the D-Day, where the Americans really intervened in Europe, I think in this time they had a higher purpose than themselves. I told you already the story, or I mean that Roosevelt could convince the people that we are born for a higher purpose than ourselves, and we go now to Europe to help to deliver them from Nazis and as well from the communists. And when we not intervene, then whole Europe became atheists. And this was the big motivation then from the American to really enter the war and deliver Europe from the evil. And I think there was another perspective in the whole thing, really deliver it. Wars are never good, or absolutely, but I think they had a higher purpose. They did it, let's say they want to build the kingdom of God and don't want to leave it to the atheists. So you can think differently about all these things, but I believe that the problem is that we lose Christianity. We lose the idea of negotiating, of sitting together, of seeing that we are all equal, we are all sinners, and all of that. We lose that, and therefore we are no more able to really build our let's say our nations and build order and extend our liberal ideas. So here, probably, Moni, can you read that? So it's from this guy Weitfeld from Holland.
Right-wing radicalism is only successful because the liberal system has failed to deliver on its promises. Right-wing radicalism is an erosion phenomenon of democracy. It is losing its appeal and influence worldwide, and is seen as uncontrollable, incomprehensible, and unjust. The shape of democracy, in theory and practice, has become gray. Its devolution, the transition to a different form of government, has begun.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to understand that. We were, the last 70 years, we lived in freedom, and Christians' value shaped the world, let's say. But this is no more the case, and something happened in the whole world, and we have to be aware as Christians. And I don't bring the solution here now, but I think we have to rethink. I believe that the Bible made our Western society, or made these liberal ideas. And here again from John Wycliffe, or he wrote in front of the Bible, this Bible is for the government, of the people, by the people, and for the people. So he was clearly convinced man needs a revelation from God to understand that he's a sinner, to understand that he needs forgiveness, to understand the reality of his creation. And therefore, I think the Bible made this world, and this is the big problem behind what's happened now. And I hope this will raise some discussion in the break time, but actually this is not my topic. I just because I don't want to tell you about how a democratical system is functioning, when on the other hand I see this movement that happens in the world right now. So I believe that we have the right thing. We should build our bubble. We have to understand it, where it's coming from. That we really can help and can build the nations. What is our mandate? Go to the whole world and explain the people about the kingdom of God. Good. Now coming back to my explanation, how from the Bible you come to politics. Probably you can you read that here?
Your
I don't see a screen.
screen sharing is.
My screen sharing is not. Yeah. So do you have a question to that? What I say? You can be disagreeing about what's happening in the moment, though. But I'm really convinced of that it's because of the losing of Christianity that that we stay in this chaos. Good. But do you want to add something or have a feedback? Okay. Also, now we will comment. So you can talk in the break about it.
Yeah, that's something.
Okay. Yeah. Please, Abucha.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I want to find out, or I want to get your best, will I say, way. Let me say yes, the best way to profile solution to a country that is unique like Nigeria. Now, in the country where you have, let's say, 45 to 46% Muslim, and then 50% Christianity, and also other religions like 3% and so on. You know, a lot of people will frown to with us. Like I have passion for the country, and I want to see that our system of governance change by adopting the principles of the Bible. But what would be your solution for people who are in other religion and would not want you to adopt such kind of principles or values from the Bible to be able to change the structure?
Yeah. Okay. I can try to answer it. Thank you for the question. It's a really good question, and this is now practical application, or it's not so easy to answer. But I think that the first thing is we have to know why we believe what we believe. Or I heard from you, Emmanuel, that you say you say that the politics is making people, but people should make politics. And when we don't know what we believe and why we believe it, then just the mainstream will make us. So we as Christians have to understand the Bible, have to understand this, what is really what God wants. And then, of course, we have to find partners, and we have to work together. And I think we have to make examples. And I don't think that the Muslims will strictly be against the Christian values. I don't think that, but we should be wise in addressing that when we say God is Trinity. I think it's not the best way to address also, but the value that we take care of people, that we help people, that we want to develop a nation. So when we really understand how we can do that out of a biblical Christian worldview, I think we can influence people. It's say that also in the Reformation time, there was not more than 10%. As a historian say that there was not more than 10% really Christians. I mean, it was easier because we were in a Christian culture, but not a lot were really convinced about Christianity. But I am only a few people can make a difference when they know what they believe and why they believe. So first do that, then start to find partners, build a team, and then start to influence step by step the government. That is John Calvin was one person, and out of that a big reformation happened. And Martin Luther was one person who started the revolution. So we can do that, but we have to be wise. And I think as Christians, we have to understand when we have a mandate as Christians, politicians, then we are not just here for the Christians, we are here for the whole population. That we also see, we want to look for the best for the Muslims and not just for the Christians. When we think like this, then we cannot really have an influence. So, but I think that's possible, but it's a long way, and my answer is probably not so convincing. But I think we start, I always say that a lot of people want to change the world, but if you want to do that, you have to change first yourself. And this is the most problematic thing to do. So what you can do is really start first and change your thinking, try to understand God, what He really wants to do in your country, and then find partners, and then let's see what God is doing. Thank you very much for the question. Sorry about not so convincing answer. Yes, Ruth.
Yes, when we are talking about politics, like Markus says, we must to be really wise, because I can be a Christian and I can try to apply Christians' values, but not necessarily I need to say in a political commitment that, oh, that is what the Bible says.
Mhm.
Not just says wise words that we know are become from biblical values. So we just need to be wise, wise,
Mhm.
and really ask God for wisdom, what words use. Because if you say, oh, like the Bible say, obviously if there's Muslims there, we say, this is not for us. This is against us.
Mhm.
But we can apply biblical values without saying we are applying biblical values. That's why for a politician, like a Christian politician, you must to learn to be wise, and you must to learn which words use in the different environments you are.
Wow, that's very good. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's exactly. So we as Christians have to know why the Bible says that. And so we have to explain and give the arguments, or because the Bible says it, because it's fit the best to our environment, to our nature, to the people who live in order and harmony together. And when we don't know that, so then we just say the Bible say that you should have no sex before marriage. It didn't say it anyway, but it's something like this. Or we have to give explanations. We have to help to arguments, help to people understand it, and have the openness that probably not everybody will then have the same interpretation. And this is also. But I think mainly is the Bible give us the Bible, and we have different interpretations because we are all humans and we are all sinners. And one of the most important things is also then be open. But probably others have a different opinion about it.
Here, Johnson from Abuja says we must think in terms of the welfare of all, not just that of the Christians.
Can you repeat it?
We must
Slower.
think in terms of the welfare of all, not just that of the Christians.
Yeah, that's exactly so. I mean, this is the responsibility that we have in a nation, or when we stay in the government. And often I think in politicians they look just for themselves first. instead of really looking for, yeah, for the people. Good. Yeah, now we will turn after the break then now to the, I want to give you more arguments from the Bible, so how this liberal society came in. So before the break, you probably can read that here.
Imagine a world where children can play in peace, with a full stomach and good hope for a good future, where children can go to school and people can find fulfilled work. A nation where people are safe and there is peace, where people are not afraid of theft, abuse, and murder. A safe life where people know that tomorrow comes to save. Their investments are not in vain. What they do is meaningful and lasts for generations. They enjoy the goods in creation, smell this fresh air, drink the fresh water, and enjoy the healthy products. They go to bed fulfilled, satisfied, and safe, full of energy and with the hope of continuing to build their nation tomorrow, because they know all what they do is not in vain.
Who wants to have that? I mean, I get inspired by Isaiah, and then I wrote something. So just Isaiah had a vision of this world that Jesus Christ will bring. But I think as a politician, we should have a vision for our country. We should have a vision for really for the people, and we are not distinguishing about is it a Christian or not. I mean, we should really say we want to serve the people. And I think, I hope I could inspire you a bit with that. And now we go to break. Please have good discussions in the break and we see us after that. So the Bible is the fundament. This is my main claim. The Bible is the fundament of our Western civilization. And what I'm doing here is explaining you why I believe in that. And I hope you can follow me. You're allowed to ask question or write question in the chat that we can answer them. Or please give me a feedback when you are not agree with my analysis. I don't say that I am the one. I want also learn from you, from Africa. And so thank you very much for your feedback. So going on, structure of the law, we have to understand now when we believe that the Bible has something to say, then what often Christians say, yeah, the Bible is the fundament, the Bible is the fundament. Okay, but how is it the fundament? Can you explain it? Can you give me argument? And then it's sometimes silent, or Christians are not so equipped to give the argument and put them in connection to our society. They probably can say, yeah, it's forbidden that women can speak in a church. And they say, yeah, it's written in the Bible. But I don't think it's written in the Bible. It's a question of interpretation. Put it in a historical context, and then you can see it differently. But we need to have, if arguments, we need to see it in the context, and we have to put then what we also, in our assignments, what we did, we went through Deuteronomy, to the laws of God, and then took some of them and put them in our time and application. So this is what we have to do when we really claim that the Bible is the fundament. Of course, one big thing is Jesus Christ, is the cross, and so we talked about that. But let's come now to the structure of and to the law of the Bible. So structure of the law is the moral law. We talk about that, and we made the assignment just to remember you. We divided between these three different laws and say the moral law, they are always true in every time, in every situation, in every culture. But the applied laws, they were specific for this culture, for this time. And now when we see that in the Bible, so we have to think what is the application for today. We cannot stone just people who divorce or something like this. So we really have to think about our culture, our time. Was our assignment, and then we had the ceremonial law where Jesus really took it away and say we don't have to sacrifice anymore, and so on and so on. So this is just to remember you. And here, Moni, you can probably read this sentence here.
And what great nation has all the victories and righteous ordinances, like all this teaching I'm giving you today?
Yeah, so now we will now look what are these great teachings that make a great nation. On Monday we already heard about things, but I put it not in connections to the Ten Commandments or so. But today we will do it, and so I will not do everything again. Just mention it a bit, what I did on Monday, and then we extend it more. So the Ten Commandments, we found out in our assignment that the moral law are mainly the Ten Commandments, and there are other moral law. But do you know the Ten Commandments? So who knows the Ten Commandments? I mean, it's actually, we should not know only the Ten Commandments by heart, but we should know what does it mean and how we apply that. So that is what I explain it to you now. Ten Commandments. Who has the Ten Commandments? Love your neighbor. No, it's not in the Ten Commandments. Not directly, but indirectly. So, who has the commandment?
Only have one God.
Yeah, there is only one God. Yeah.
One God.
So we should not have other gods beside of Him.
Thank you.
Other one? Come on! Hey, we are
No pictures of what is in the sky and the ground and everything. Sabbath?
Sabbath?
No kill. No kill.
No
Yeah,
killing.
do not kill.
Honor your mother and father.
Honor your mother and father.
Do not covet.
Do not covet.
Don't argue your neighbor wife or
Do not. That's on the cover. That's the Ten Commandments. Yeah, okay. So let's see. Also, this one we had. Do not make idols. Do not use God's name in vain. We forgot that. That's actually a very important one. Keep the Sabbath. That's the only one that is not required in the New Testament, by the way. But all the others, then honor your parents, do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not lie, and so the last one, do not covet. So I just go now through the Ten Commandments and explain the applications that we have today in our society, in our politics. As the first commandment we discussed on Monday about that, but the principle is that then it's need an absolute law who stays over everybody, and everybody have to commit to this law. And it was the moral law, the Ten Commandments of the Bible. And when you look back to history, the American constitutions came from the Ten Commandments of the Bible. It's human rights is application of the Ten Commandments. And we see these Ten Commandments were, you creating a constitution were always the foundation, but a lot of things we have to develop a bit more that it makes that the value is clear for our society. And therefore we have today, our constitution looks a bit thicker than the Ten Commandments. But actually a lot of, we will see that later, a lot of them are coming from the Ten Commandments. So here, in our constitution preamble, in the name of God, it starts. Also the Germans, one start in the name of God. We are not the only constitution who have that. Sadly, the American constitution don't start like this. The Swiss people and the cantons have the responsibility towards the creation and as well it's a creation, not nature. It both creation require a creator. So when you talk nature, then it's neutral in the sense, because nature it needs a creator, but for them it's not in the word that it's required to create. So it's clearly, and we heard on Monday as well, there is a lot in our constitution, prayer letter, and in our national hymn, Austrian, also Switzerland. So when you say, with Eiswehr, that is what the Swiss people, they have to swear when they get voted into the parliament or as a governor. I swear before the Almighty God to observe the Constitution, the laws, and to fulfill the duties of my conscientiously. Okay. I mean, you see the connections to the Bible, and one thing is clear. So, because they swear to something and it has a meaning that they really put God first. But today they changed it, and today you have optional. Today, because of a secular nation, you cannot have that anymore. So today, and probably Moni, can you read that? You're much better than I.
I swear to observe the Constitution and the laws and to fulfill the duties of my office consciences.
Yeah, so you see, today you have the option. So you see this as well. I mean, when people don't believe anymore in God, why do they swear to God? For them, it's clear, it absolutely makes no sense anymore. The problem is not that we abolish this law. The problem is that we lose God. People don't believe in God anymore. Just to say God when you don't believe in it, it's absolutely useless. So here is the independent letter from America. Morning, can I?
We hold this truth that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So this was the original letter from Thomas Jefferson, but then they had influence from deist people like here, and then the official independence letter says that now. Can you read it again?
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are capable by their Creator with certain and inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So that was then Benjamin Franklin was mainly. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? Okay, here is. So the whole this truth that all men are created equal. How could that they are endowed by their Creator with certain blah blah blah. So here it says we hold this to be self-evident. Do you self-evident? Can you read them? So what does it mean? That all men are created. So it's self-evident that all men are made equal. It's not a revelation from God. It's not by God given. So it makes sense because when we look to nature, we can see that, but absolute look to nature, it's different. The stronger will kill the weaker. It's absolutely not self-evident. So. And then here, this is the Constitution, and you see what's happened then in the Constitution preamble of the United States.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty, austerity, and to establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Yeah, so you see God is up here, absolutely. But anyway, it's coming from Christianity. And of course, the American culture is all influenced by Christianity. So coming to the second law, they had that as well. Also, you should not make yourself an image. So my principle would be nobody can have the whole picture, the whole truth. Nobody is able to to paint the whole reality. So we don't see the whole truth. So and therefore, we saw that yesterday that Moses on the fountain in Bern in front of the government building putting on the second law. So remember, we all don't know everything. We need one another, and therefore we can grow when we listen to one another, when we do make compromise, when we work together. So this law that God gave, so that nobody should stand up and say, I know everything. So I think it's very, very important, and always we should get remind on it again. Hey, I don't know everything. I'm not God here. I probably have these ideas and so, but I'm ready to listen to people who have another opinion. So when I look to myself, it's sometimes not easy, but sometimes I'm so convinced about something to say, no, stop. Listen carefully what these people say. I was listening to the interview of Vladimir Putin, and from the West, people say, no, don't listen to that, to this interview, that's anyway a fake and a promotion of Russia, and so on and so on. But when we are not ready to listen, what they will tell us, then they will not function. So, I mean, God put it in His 10 Commandments, it is moral, and this constitution of the Bible. Hey, that's the foundation. We need to be willing to listen to one another. We are not God, and we cannot have the whole picture. Good. So we talked about that on Switzerland, who had a good application with these 7 in council and not just one. So coming to the third one, you should not misuse the name of the Lord. And so some people say you should not say with your words or so, but I think how can you misuse the Lord? So my principle here is not allowed to misuse your position. So because God say, and it's clearly in Paul, in Roman, that God put you on a position, so you can misuse that. Then let's say you're a policeman, you stop a car, and you can misuse your position. Can you do that? Can you misuse your position? You can. Or Sebastian, we talked about that. Or can a leader misuse his position?
Definitely.
So can a politician misuse his position? So when you, what Romans say, oh, God gave this position to people, but you should not misuse it. And you can misuse it. So be really careful that you not misuse your position and your leadership. And this can happen. We are all sinners, and we need to have accountability, and we need to have transparency that these things are not happening. When we don't have to give responsibility, accountability to someone, then it's really dangerous. Even we are a good guy, it's really dangerous. So we need that necessary, and that we not start abusing our position, our power for our sake. So we also talked about that yesterday, therefore I will not go through everything, but here is just out of our constitution, something that would fit to this. Probably you can read that, Moni.
Federal Assembly controls and exercises the Federal Council and Federal Administration, Federal Boards, and the other bodies responsible for federal.
So it's clear that's a value in our constitution that they have to give responsibility, and so the parliament, and so is, and the next one.
There is no secrecy about the law.
Yeah, so there is no security. Everything is open. We discussed this on Monday, or we will see that this afternoon in the parliament. How does it work? Is it working? So I think the principle for the first commandment we addressed already on Monday. This was more a summary. So we need a constitution, we need the separation of power, horizontal, vertical, because of that we can stop this misusing, or that we are not the one who can paint the whole picture. It came out, and then accountability to one another, and therefore election and represent. So the best would be a democratical system. Democratical system is not written in the Bible, but when you think about all that, so how can you get all out of a bad guy? Or I have a system where we vote, and when we don't vote for him anymore, then he has to leave. So it's not wise to kill him or start a revolution to take him down, but we have a system that we can get out of this bad guy in a good way. So, and this is done by elections, by sender representation, and so on and so on. And therefore, out of this understanding, I would say, I claim here now, this democratical system appeared. I also say democracy is, this is from Vishal Mangalwadi, democracy is not made because it's a good, it's made because we are sinners. Or that we can get out of bad people in a good way. And therefore, it helps the politicians responsible to also their voters. And when this is no more given, when their voters don't have a chance anymore, and so then it's very dangerous. And we know that from countries. So let's look to a constitution.
Just a question, if I understand it right, the separation, like the horizontal, it's like executive, and
judiciary.
Yeah, and the vertical is like the village has his chief, and then the city, and okay.
So as you can start by family already, or family, and so good. Just to understand a bit what is a constitution, what is in a constitution, and you can research them later in your own constitution. Also, it starts with the preamble and shows the foundation. In the Swiss constitution, it starts in the name of God, and we heard that it says that the measure of the strength of the people is measured by the weakness of something. Yeah, it gives us the general ideas, and this is the preamble of the things. The vision, or so next one is then regulation. The regulation relationship, and this is the biggest part in the constitution. It say who is responsible for what. So that is just a general requirement, the purpose of the states, the purpose of the cantons, the separation of power, and so on. And then one part is then civil rights or obligations, or the human rights, you can say. But this is a little part. The biggest part, then again, is this regulation about the power, about the separation of power. So federalistic system, the regulation of direct democracy, as the initiative and the referendums, regulate of the legislative, executive, judiciary, and regulate that possible for foreign for revising the constitution, so that we as people can change the constitution. But actually, what is in a constitution is how the powers are shared, how the relationship should work. And there's some human rights in it, or fundamental rights. It just is very interesting one to dig into a constitution and look what is actually in it. So these are the main values of a country. So our value is strong in Switzerland, separation of power, the federalistic system, the sovereignty of individuals, and there is a what's happened. Also, there are seven members of the council, the government council. There are all of these is in the constitution. Good. Now, secondly, let's come now to the fourth. The fourth commandment. This is what we didn't do on Monday, and this is about the Sabbath. So my principle is here that Sunday is a free day. If you see that in all influenced Christian nations, then Sunday is, or should be a free day, or that the shops are closed and people have free, the nurses and the doctors have to work anyway, and the pastors have to work. I mean, and therefore on Monday they have free or so. But the idea is really that there needs to be a free time, and as well, not just that you do the Sabbath or hold the Sabbath, that also your workers, like it's here written, that your workers, actually your servants, your oxes, your donkeys, your livestock, your foreigners, all who live among you should celebrate the Sabbath. It's not that they celebrate the Sabbath in a sense, a festival or so, but in the sense that they have the right to have a free time, that they not have to work 7 days, that it's regularly they have a free time. So we put that in our constitution. Here, regulation of time, money, first one.
Permanent Sunday work shall only be authorized if it is necessary for technical or economic reasons.
Yeah, so this is out of the Bible. That Switzerland made in his constitution. They say, yeah, just we need doctors, we need nurses, we need pastors and so on Sunday, but it's only when it's necessary. You know. Second one.
Cantons may designate a maximum of 4 Sundays per year, on which employees may be employed themselves without authorization.
Okay, then now this came later in. It was not from the beginning. That now it's allowed that 4 Sundays. Also that means that our shops can be open and people can go to shop, but then people have to work. And so you see this liberalization already a bit into it. I not say it's absolutely wrong, but behind it, it's more the business. So we open every day, then we can do more business. And the tendency is also that business people think, okay, I work a bit on Sunday, then I can do a bit more work, then I can do a bit earn more money. And this is, of course, it's not what the Bible would say. Good, the next one.
Within 2 weeks, at least one whole Sunday must be released as a weekly rest day immediately before or after the daily rest period.
Also, this is then in the law, it's not in the constitution, the last one. I don't want to. Some are regulated then in the law. Also, the value is in the constitution, and then the law describes then what exactly we have to do. So, also, that means when somebody is a doctor or so, then they have the right that they have free at least like that they don't have to work every Sunday. I mean, this came out from this understanding from God, and probably secular people would say, no, it's not from the Bible. That makes absolutely sense. Free, and they fight for more freedom and more rights for the people. But actually, we have to see it's coming from the Bible, and even in 3,500 years ago, God gives this as advice to the people, and I think that's the main advice. So that when we look to the New Testament, then Jesus said, not abolish the Sabbath, but he worked on Sabbath. He was actually saying Sabbath is for the people and not people for the Sabbath. So actually God put this law in to protect people, to help you that you not get overworked. And so you should have free, and every week you should not work all the time. And actually I heard teaching you say Sabbath is actually every day, so you should have a Sabbath time every day. Otherwise it's not good when you work the whole time. We need to find Sabbath, and when you look then the Sabbath, the conclusion of Sabbath in Hebrew is actually the Sabbath is just a cricket, or it's just a stick to hold on, but actually Jesus Christ is the one who brings us really in Sabbath, in this rest, in this eternal rest. So, but I think really you can disagree, tell me, but we need to find a practical application of the laws of the Bible. When you have something else, then please let me know. and I would say I'm not the absolute here, but I try just to help you to understand it. The fifth commandment, it's about honoring father and mother. So I took the principle out. Children have to honor, obey their parents, subordinate nation according to God's order, and woman and man are equal. Man and woman are equal before the Lord. Because it says here, so we should obey father and mother, and not just the father, but in a Muslim context, it would be really different. But here it said mother and father both on the same level. And in the New Testament, we see then more about that the man is the head of the family, but actually the wife is the neck and decide where man is looking to. No, we are a team. I mean, that's the idea. Well, we are a team. We are still the head of the family, but this means more that we are guilty when something is wrong. Because we are responsible as man, but this doesn't mean that we are not working in a team and share our responsibility and so on. But I think this is my principle. Then look to the Constitution again. This is this is also law, not in the Constitution, but
parents shall educate and discipline the child according to their ability, and protect his or her physical, mental, and moral development. The children owe obedience to their parents.
But that is in our law. It's interesting, huh? It's really interesting. So I think that when children they should obey, because it's obviously just leave them and do what they want to do. That that's not good, and will lead in correct chaos. So we put that in a law, and today when let's say in a family something is not in order, the people can appeal to this law or say, yeah, but you don't take care of your children, therefore something will happen or so. Just to know, it found also the way in our constitution, or here, this is from the Constitution.
Each person assumes responsibility for himself and contributes to the accomplishment of the task of the state and society.
That's probably not to the fourth directly to these commandments, fifth commandments, but I think we often read that in the Bible that everybody has self-responsibility to himself and according to the task of society. So also when somebody not takes this responsibility, then we can appeal to that and bring him in actually before the court, or because this is in our institution. So here, this is the institution that probably in every institution you have that.
All are equal before the law.
Yeah, that all are equal.
All people are equal before the law. Men and women have equal rights.
Yeah. This. Yeah, just to see, I mean, this found the way in our constitutions today. And when the problem is when we don't know who is a man and who is a wife anymore, and how much sense do we have in this, then, or do we have to change it? A lot of questions. So coming to the sixth commandment, you should not murder.
Every person have the right to live. Therefore, our Constitution gives every person the right to live.
Yeah, so my principle, then look to the Constitution. You can read that here. Sorry.
Right to live and personal freedom. Every human being has the right to live. The death penalty is forbidden.
So I wrote my thesis here in the SPCW about this here. And then my question was, when we abort children, is this not against the Constitution? And the argument is clear. When is a person a person? But this arbitrary. I mean, we cannot say it. We don't know it. We just say okay, 12 months, 12 weeks. we can abort a child until before 12 weeks, then it's okay, and after 12 weeks it would be a human man. I mean, who decide that? What make a difference between a day before, a day after the 12 weeks or so? I mean, I think it's really against the Constitution. And we start, the problem is here that we start to define who is a person and who not. And I think this is up to God. We cannot define that. A person is a person because God blew his spirit into this body or this man, and not because it is something or it has something. But I think that also a problem that we lose God and we start to define by ourselves who is a person. The same would be with old people or kill old people, who give us the right. When we in Switzerland, it's called, we are the Mecca of suicide for old people. Then people came and traveled to Switzerland to kill themselves because it was legal in Switzerland. But what gave us the right to do that? Or yeah. But we have not a definition anymore. What is allowed? Who is a person? Who is not a person? And so on. But it found a way in our constitution. A question would arise: what is with the death penalty? It's forbidden in Switzerland, but not in other countries. I don't know what you think about that. Probably you can quickly turn to your neighbor and think a bit about it. What is about the death penalty? Is it allowed or is it not allowed, according to the Bible?
Ok, alors ça, oui, alors d'accord, dans ce sens, dans le sens, est-ce que quand tu prends la Bible, le Nouveau Testament, est-ce que tu penses que la Bible elle permet à une nation de faire appliquer la peine de mort?
Yes, we do.
We can give life in prison, but also it's enough.
Yeah, I think that's hard. I mean, to see the people sometimes do so bad things, or they kill person or make it in pieces and do something bad, and see those things really horrible. But still, I think we cannot change or win person punishing or taking life away. Like, yeah, whole life imprisonment or something like that. Yes, it is not so easy, but yeah, I mean, if I could choose, then I would also say let's not kill, because life is precious.
I see that you have intense discussion about it. I mean, God is also a death penalty for eternal life. God is giving a death penalty for eternal life, or eternal death. But anyway, no, is it allowed or not? The King James version say, "You too should not kill, put to death." Or when we look to the International Standard Version, "You are not to murder," what is actually, when you look to the here the Greek, but also the Hebrew, but the Hebrew is always complicated too. Therefore, I use the Greek word to dash in pieces, to murder, put to death. Also, it's referred to murder. You should not murder, you should not kill. Also, murder means, definition is that you intentionally kill somebody because you're angry or so. But I think that you, let's say in a war, defend your family or defend your country is not under this law. there is still a right to defend yourself. But in a like you cannot use self justice or and do that. And so when something happens, then it needs a court. It's not clear. But I think still, it's a question is, do we have death penalty or not? When this would be Arabic nation, then probably I would rather have no, because it also have to do with I mean, in a Christian nation, or say there it needs to have a limit, and sometimes when it's so bad, then probably it's the question: do we store them up in a prison and then after 20 years we release him again and then he do the next crime? Or what is the sense of life to be in prison for the whole time? I don't know. Difficult questions. But I think the Bible is not necessarily saying death penalty is forbidden. But I mean, there are a lot of discussion. Yes, Sebastian.
One thing that I find interesting about death penalty in the Old Testament is it was not applied by the police or justice high levels, but it was the whole community. Or when your kids were not obeying your parents, you know, they should throw the first stones, but the whole community is around, and it's at such a low level, close to people, that you really think twice before applying it when you have to throw the stone. It's not as easy as just make an injection to someone in a closed, secret place, and that makes a difference in the way you apply it as well, I think.
Yes, very good. No, I this is how we apply that and what is right and what is not. I don't want to go too much in this discussion, but I think just generally say everywhere where death penalty is that this is against our human rights and so on, so on, so on. I mean, we have death penalty for babies. We abort them. We do that, and in Switzerland we abort 30 babies every day.
Up to what weeks?
To the 12th weeks. But actually they are more, because not everything is in statistic. But so we have this death penalty. I mean, yeah. But this is a lot of debate, and it needs thinking before we just apply what we hear in social media or so. So we have really to think. We think, is it right? And you probably heard the story about in Austria, the man who killed his daughter, persecuted her, and all of that, and then he gets free again. Or you are in the prison and then you can appeal. And the stupid thing I show you that the prisoners have a right to go to prostitutes. Here in Switzerland, there is a law to allow the prisoners to go to prostitutes.
Really?
What kind of, that's a human right. That's a human right. But we are so far, and you remember when I went through the laws that all the stupid, all the laws that we did as Swiss people, let's say that you can change your gender every year once. You can do that according to the law. They have to change your passport. They have to every year. Then go to Burkina Faso to the passport and say, I'm Mrs. Sebastian. They say, hello? Something is wrong, you put you in prison. No, I mean, it is not applicable. I think it's really just stupid. But this is a law. Yeah. So we have to learn to think. So here, probably you can read that. And Romans 13 addresses a big issue here.
Every person must be subject to the governing authorities, for no authority exists except by God's permission. The existing authorities have been established by God, so that whoever resists the authorities opposes what God has established, and those who resist will bring judgment on themselves. For the authorities are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you like to live without being afraid of the authorities? Then do what is right, and you will receive their approval. For they are God's servants working for your good. But if you do what is wrong, you should be afraid, for it is not without reason that they bear the sword. Indeed, they are God's servants to administer punishment to anyone who does wrong. This is also why you pay taxes, for rulers are God's servants, faithfully devoting themselves to their work. Pay everyone whatever you owe them, taxes to whom taxes are due, tolls to whom tolls are due, fear to whom fear is due, honor to whom honor is due.
So that's a very debatable scripture in the New Testament, but actually we are, as Christians, we are called to obey. And I mean, the people have to fear the sword if they do wrong. This is the general idea, or am I now? But then the state misuse the name of the Lord and punish people who are. And we know all the stories of it. But the idea is just, let's say here in Switzerland, I still believe we have a good government, that we either as Christians should pray for them and stay behind them and obey them instead of rebel against them. Because it's clear to say that it's not say, okay, I put authority in just in Christian nations. It's everywhere. So I mean, actually, he put it to bring order. They misuse the thing, of course they do, but actually we are also better in rebellion and so on. But this is a big debate. We can then debate in our reflection time.
A comment from Jonathan Abuja.
Yeah.
He says the death penalty for someone who kills another person has to do with the sanctity of the human life. Man was made in the image and likeness of God, which the liberal mindset of the West disdains.
Yeah, that's a good statement. So, really good. Thank you. So next one, seventh commandment, you are not to commit adultery. My principle, marriages is, oh yes.
Marriage is protected by the law. Therefore, the Constitution protected marriages.
Or did. So Switzerland, we see here what is in the Constitution.
Right to have a family. Right to have a family is protected and given.
Yeah, also that's the Constitution. That's the absolute law. The International Human Rights Declaration from 1948. You can probably also read that.
Men and women, without any limitation of race, nationality, or religion, have the right to marry and to form a family.
Yeah, now it's a question. I mean, we are in the debate. You know that as Swiss, we know that there's the marriage for all. So we claim then the marriage for all is against the Constitution and against the human right. And the question is now how you interpret this man and woman. Because it's not necessarily say that man have married a woman or woman man. So it's actually, and then mind the clear there was a statement from the International Court that says that in a historical sense, when you look to the law in three different senses, one is the historical one, or and say in a historical one, the one who put that in praxis, 1948, they mean man and woman, absolutely clear, no question about it. So, and there is another streamer to say, okay, what does it mean literally? Or when you look literally, then it didn't say man has to marry a woman, no? Literally. Or then the third one is then to say, no, I mean, we changed, and so our values change and our culture change, and we have to adapt it for today, and therefore it's not say man and woman, so it's a homosexual can also marry. But this is the debate that we had in Switzerland. We looked at with a lawyer, and actually the problem is when the people don't believe it, then in the end you will lose. So we had a referendum. Do not can you?
No to marriage for all, including sperm donation for lesbian
Also, the thing is that everybody can marry man, wife, everything, whatever. And there is no more distinction about that. And we put in the law another thing. It says the sperm donation for lesbian couples. And I was on forefront to fight to win this debate, because we say that's against the Constitution. That's against our Constitution. We cannot create a law that is against our Constitution. But in the end, they did. So why is it against the Constitution? Here are the Constitution.
It shall ensure the protection of human dignity, personality, and the
Okay, that's the first one. Also, here is now the article.
Procedures of medical reproduction may only be used if infertility or the risk of severe transmission of a serious disease when it cannot be cured in any other way.
So can you see the problem? Can you see it? Who can help me? What is the problem? Come on here.
It is a condition.
Yeah, as a sperm donation is now for all lesbian couples. That means we open it for everybody, actually. Or in here in the Constitution, it says exactly, or it's not for everybody. It's only in this. So we claim that it's against the Constitution. And this is not the only law that we do against the Constitution. I would say that abortion is also fit to that, but this is also fitting to that. And so we have more and more laws that we created that actually against the Constitution. And so the problem is also that in Switzerland we don't have a constitutional court, because the constitutional court is who in Switzerland? The people. Yeah, exactly, the people. So only we can stand up. But the problem is standing up for something like this. We have to be equipped. We have to know. We have to be lawyers. We cannot just, this is really difficult. So in the sense, Switzerland creating laws that would be against the Constitution. But other countries do it as well, but mostly they have a constitutional law who will stand up and you can appeal to this court and they will fight for you. This is not possible here in Switzerland.
And what is the Supreme Court doing here?
But the Supreme Court, it's not, the Supreme Court is when there is a problem. Let's say you have something against the state, or then they need to decide it, or when there is, let's say you have a conflict and the canton or court say that, and you can appeal them to the Supreme Court. But they cannot, it's not in America, the problem in America, the court can create laws. You probably heard about that. So that's a difficult thing. So the court create laws. And here only the legislative, who is the parliament, and the highest legislative is the people, can create law, and not the Supreme Court or the court. They can only apply it. But in America, you heard about this abortion, or that they now came back, or the Supreme Court, and say it's not a human right. Abortion is not a human right. It's not in the Constitution, and now, or the human rights activists standing up and say that's a right for the women to abort the child, and this has to be in our national constitution, and so. But the Supreme Court can make a law, but this cannot happen in Switzerland. So we come late to that, and tomorrow I will tell you more of it.
Oh, wait, can you go to once? The last one is, so now you still protected against this gene researchers and also,
yeah.
Yeah.
But this is also
still have the protection.
Yeah, but this research is also, we fight against that. Probably you know this, and we can, but the scanning of embryos. There's also that we say no, it's not ethical scanning embryos because we don't want to have it designed the way we. And also this we lost, and today it's allowed that you and so on and so on.
mean, there are many things that I can tell you about that, but I really, what my intention is here, not that you understand know everything from Switzerland, but that you get aware and research in your country what's happened there, what is the constitution, what are the laws, and how are they against the constitution, that you start to think about that. So the 8th commandment, you should not steal.
Private property is protected, therefore our constitution protects private property.
Yeah, that's in the we have the right.
Everyone has the right for private.
Yeah, okay. So I think that's it's when you read that in a communistic constitution, then it's clear that it's not there, that you have the right of private property. And I think it takes a bit longer time to explain that, because I think it's one of the fundamental laws. This really have right of private property, because God is the giver, He gave us, and therefore we are not the owner of it, we actually are the steward of that what God gave to us. Also, let's say when this is not given, then it reduces the value of an economy. Also, when I say I have a mobile phone and a Christian is stealing my mobile phone, what do you do with it? You don't do it. But when you have to delete everything, because all the data are useless for you. All the things are useless. You take the SIM card out and smash it away because it's useless for you, and especially useless in Burkina Faso, and so on and so on. And so you see, then the mobile phone for me, let's say it has, it is not just a mobile phone, it has value because there are data, there are informations in it, there are my whole agenda, all my appointments, and so on and so on. So a lot of things, I hope, these are saved for you. When you lose it, then it's somewhere else too. But say there is a lot of things, and when you have to buy one, a new one, you have to buy a new one, but you have to take time for it. Install all the apps again. You have to recover so a value is not just the value of material things. The mobile phone has much more value for me than for you, Christian. And then if you steal that, then you go to the black market and sell it, and you have to sell it even to a cheaper price that you can sell it. And so if in the end, when we're stealing, or we reduce value in the economy. Actually, stealing is reducing values in our economy. So another thing is, I also say that. So when I worked in youth ministry. I had many debates with the people. They stole, the young people. They stole. They mainly came from the Balkan, a lot of them. But for them, the worldview is when you have the right to take. As when so there is a mobile phone and nobody's there, so I can take it. Who cares? Or I can take it. When you have the opportunity to do it. Let's say you have the opportunity to download the film, you have the right to download the film. Or when you have the opportunity to I don't know, but just to have the opportunity if you're not the right to take something. Does it make sure? So I then say to my youth, so I debated with them and they left the mobile phone here, and then I took the mobile phone and said, no, it's mine, because nobody takes care of it. And then, what was the reaction of the young people? What was the reaction? Of course, they get angry. Man, I killed your mom. Give me back my mom. Do you see the world you think you can do that? But when it's happened to you, then. And so, I mean, it gives a change in our worldview that we start to think, when I have the opportunity, then I have the right to take it. So. And therefore, it's really important that we have this border of you should not steal. people think they can only have more when they steal, and often, also in Africa, or I have to be corrupt, otherwise I never have success, or I have to steal because the income would be too less, I will never come to a good level. Then people want quick income, or we look for quick income, we want to win the lottery, we want to win the money, but this is winning something, or it's not. When you have more, then your character should also grow. Just to have more, you cannot handle that. So God gives you according to what you can handle. But just to have more, it's a really danger that people cannot handle it. Then corruption is stealing, or it decreases the GDP of a nation. When in a nation is corruption, then people will no more invest in this nation. Because they know I invest and have to pay corruption, I go somewhere where I don't have to pay corruption. So when there is corruption, actually investment will come down. And also in your own country, when you are in your country and there is corruption, then you look where I can do my business, where I don't have to pay. Or let's say in a sector there is corruption, then you will go to another one because you don't have to pay it. And actually, what we produce with corruption, we have more, but in general, the whole get less and less and less and less. We hinder corruption and we hinder investment, and also, let's say, there is a field. But you say, I will not plant a tree, because when I plant a tree, then all the neighbors will come and take it from me. I mean, of course, then you will not do it. It hinders, so this corruption or this stealing hinder really innovative new things, because you are not sure that this is protected. Good, then people get angry and become furious, and people lost trust in one another. So if I know, Sebastian, that you are a thief, I will not trust you. So I will make sure that you can take something from me, and so regulate everything when I do business with you, because it reduces trust in one another. And I think the fundament of business, good business, is trusting in one another. So when you want to regulate and control everybody, then we cannot do really business. We can only do business when we start, equip another, empower people, and empowering people is not possible when you can trust them. People have to hide and are in danger. So if you know somebody steal you, then you are in danger. You have to protect your property. You have to build a fence, and you have to build cameras and a wall, and I don't know. And you are always in danger. Right? The cost of production rises extremely, because you have to build all the control system, and in the end, this controlling thing costs more than the product itself. And this is not a joke. This is often the case in a lot of things. So it reduces productivity, creativity, self-responsibility. Or I already said, and you will not plant a tree in a garden when everybody can take it. So in this, it's not protected, then you're always in danger to lose it. And so it will hinder creativity and productivity. So too many taxes also can reduce because when you have to pay too much taxes, let's say in Germany, then you come to Switzerland, you pay less, or you do it in the black market, and a lot of nations, a lot of people don't pay taxes for their business because it would be too much. Or so we also as a state have to rethink, and when it's too much, then rebellion will start. So we have to think and not come just, if we need money, we can raise the taxes. So that's not a good advice. People need to have security. So people have nothing to give or to invest anymore. When people are stealing from you, then you cannot give it. You don't have it anymore. So actually, what God wants that we have, that we also can give. Give it somebody, but when people steal it, we don't have it anymore. And also in socialism, or when nobody has something, and private property is not allowed, then of course, or then you cannot give, you cannot invest. Misuse people to gain for yourself is also stealing, or you steal from people, not just money, or so you can also steal from people when you oppress them, when you we talked about that, Sebastian. I mean, this is also stealing, or it would also go under this law, misusing people. And then bondages often that in a family, when somebody in a family is doing something, then you have to take care of everybody. This is typically in Africa, or somebody raised or Christian raised to have money, then you have to take care of the whole family. So in the sense, it's not so wise. But these boundaries, these stop really production and innovation, because everybody has to take some kind of self-responsibility. Yeah, good. And then to buy only the cheapest thing, I would say, this also can be stealing. You look only for yourself, and you don't take care. Is this child labor behind your product, or is this making a wrong way, or they only misuse the farmers? They didn't pay them enough. I mean, this can also go under stealing, or that you not pay what it costs. And this is also when you go to a school, when you do something and you not pay what it's really costing, then actually it's stealing. And we have to learn to think about it, and that we pay also when we download a film from the internet. I mean when there is clear that you have to pay, then you will pay, even there would be an opportunity to do it in a cheaper way or so. Or there are a lot of examples to have to go in this direction. Take another woman to receive babies. I would also say that stealing go under this. That when you steal other women, and then in the end, I mean, a lot of problems, and babies and street kids, nobody takes care of it, and you steal from people dignity. You steal from, you cannot steal another wife. So therefore, it's clear. A man should have only one wife and should take care of it, and nobody has the right to take it. It would be different in the communistic manifesto. Good, then stealing from the next generation in destroying the future environment. I would also put this under stealing, that you can steal that and pollute the environment, and the next generation have to take care of it. Or also with the whole debts, that we raise the debts, and next generation have to pay for it. That's also, that's done in the whole world. Yeah, so you see, I think application of this law, you can go on and on and on. But there are huge application that we understand what is not yours, you cannot take it. This is the fundamental thing. So God give everybody, we have this Matthew story, or God give everybody what he can carry, but we are not allowed to steal it from the other world. So look for what God gave you, be thankful for that, and he will multiply it. You cannot multiply what you see in others, or you can only multiply what you have. And we have enough given by God. And this is also when we not have the trust in a giver who gives us enough, then we're always constantly under this danger of fear that it's not enough for me. And then people start to look for ways for make them rich by themselves. I think it has a lot to do with understanding the Creator and trust that there is enough for me. So I don't have to fight for it. I don't have to win. I can also lose, because I know a win-win, or in the end I will win more than I will lose. And this has to do a lot with Christianity. So we will not go in this one.
the whole debt situation. We can, the conclusion or different view on an economy today. I would say one is yours, is mine. That's the socialistic idea. Everything belongs to me, what you have, and nobody has something. Or today, in a nicer way, probably also the shareholder premise, or this idea in economy that this casino game, or they just take what they can have the best and don't care about, don't aware of what's happened, children, labor, and so on and so on. Would go in this direction. You can take everything, or everything is mine. The stronger will survive. So mine is another view. It is capitalistic view, or this belongs to me, and nobody has the right to have a share of it. But this is only, I would say, not a Christian view, because we are all stewards. And what is mine, I received from God as a steward, and I have also the responsibility then to use it to empower other people. So power is given to you to empower people, and not the other way around. Next one is mine is yours. So that's change a bit. Yours is mine, because now let's say you go to a monastery and give all your share, all what you have to the monastery, and then you live under them. Then actually it could be a way to do, but it's very dangerous. Let's say the monastery, the leadership is changing, and you are no more agree with that, and then everything belongs now to the monastery, then you are a slave and no more really a partner. So cooperatives could also be cooperatives that you do it together and put the money together, and when you lose the money, then the money is gone. And I think this is a good way to do, but do it with people who really you can trust and have the same worldview as you, and not with people who steal and people who are corrupt. But this is limited. So I think cooperatives make sure that it's limited, that when you lose some, that you not lose your whole life. You can start something else. You lose some part of your money, but not the whole thing. It could be a good view. This mine is yours. But I think not in everything. I hesitate to say monastery is a good way, but be really sure about that. To give everything just to somebody is probably not the right way to do it. Also, you can say marriage is application, or your marriage, you say, okay, now mine is yours. And in a marriage, oh, yes, you say that, and somehow but you trust really one another. But sometimes it didn't work. Yeah. So I will not say this is not functioning. It's also a business model. And then the last one, what is mine is not mine. To understand that we are stewards from them what God gave to us. And a good application would be a social market system economy that we already talked about, that came out of a Christian initiative. That we say, okay, the market is a free market, so to make gain, but the state is a social state, and he takes taxes from the free market and then distribute it to the people in need. That is an application of that, or that the one who have something, who make money, that they are also responsible for a lot of things, and therefore they give a bit more taxes to really support the people who are not, can take or don't have these opportunities. The danger is also in a social market that then in the end it becomes too much socialistic, and then the people don't work anymore, they just profit from the state, and a lot of self-responsibility will come. And this is the debate between the right and left, actually, what we have in the West. But I think there are different models I would say the first one is absolutely wrong from a biblical Christian worldview. The second one, I think it's, yeah, it has some justification because we are all self-responsibility. I would more go in the third one, in corporations, working together, have corporations, have limited shares with others, or then really think about the stewardship and have this perspective, then this would be the most important for me. So, but we have to learn to think as Christians in business systems and have to try to understand how does it work, what does it mean shareholder values, what is a business model going with that, and so coming to the ninth, I make it short now, just finish. Also, we should not lie, and therefore, yeah, we speak before the court. You see that in the United States, we say, so help you God, is no, you don't have to say it anymore in the United States. But before it was clear, you swear before the court in the name of God. In England, it's the same, but we will not go to that. Let's come to the 10th commandment, the last one, then I finish. Sebastian, you mentioned that already. So we should not covet your neighbor's wife and field and male and whatever. So you can read that principle.
You should be satisfied with what you have. Still, it is not starting with what you do. It is starting with what you do.
Yeah, and I think this is not in the constitution now, because this is something that it's not belong to the state, that belongs to the church, and we always have to remind people, hey, we can only multiply what we have, and we should be thankful of what we have and not look what others have. To compare, if you want to be unhappy, yesterday Markus shared that. If you want to be unhappy, compare to the others.
Gerber said that.
Yeah, or Jürgen, yeah.
Yeah.
So you should, I mean, this is not God's kingdom, compare to one another. That you really be thankful of what God gave to you. That's the kingdom of God. And see what God gave to you, and then you see that, then you will be able to multiply that. And this is the starting point of stealing, or this is the starting point of corruption. So again, Christianity, the foundation of the Bible, or the fear of God, is the foundation of why people are corrupt, or why people are stealing. Because they don't believe that they have enough. They don't see what God gave to them. They compare to others, and so on. And so I hope that it helps you to understand my main statement, to understand that the Bible create our Western society, create our political structure, create this liberal democracy. And the danger is now when you take this away, that our principle, our values will also appear sooner or later. Thank you very much for listening, and now I give back to my dear friend Juan.